everyone. As you're jumping in, let me know #live if you're jumping in live. I know we kind of announced this a little bit last minute, but we have an awesome guest today. And Luis Alvarado, I interviewed him a while ago, I think 2 years ago. And I think it's been 2 years. It's been a while. And since then, I've known him as being a person who have conquered the passive income lifestyle. He traveled all around. And today I want to interview him again and bring him here because a lot of people they need what he knows, which is how do you leverage, how do you start a business, how do you fund a business, how to go from 0 to X without using your own money. And now more than ever, I think his advice and his knowledge base is going to be super useful, especially because there's so many options right now. There's so many options to do it. And that's why I brought him in. So for those of you who, for my audience who don't know you, Luis, can you take us back a little bit and let them kind of know, like, how did you get started into this crazy world? You were around when a lot of people that we know now started at 0 or made their first dollar online. So it's been a journey.
Yeah, it really has. It's been it's since 2017 is when I've been actively here online, learning, sharing, making money, traveling. And I've been pretty privileged, this past year during the pandemic, where many of us had to, the only option that we had was just to stay indoors and not do anything. But honestly, for a lot of us, I think it benefited us in the way that, we were like, there was like no distractions, and so therefore we were able to make productive. Like this has been my very best year in business, and being like now taking that momentum into 2021, all the principles that I have learned and continue to learn over time. So getting started, before, like, whenever the first few Facebook groups were just being around and like everybody was talking about the agency space, not many people were promoting the things that they're promoting nowadays. And so it was just really cool. But as time progressed, I started, like, because I started this back when I was in college. So my very last semester, my last couple semesters of college, I had my own group, and I was in there and I was sharing digital marketing strategies and all that good stuff. And I would see so many people like travel the world and live this digital nomad lifestyle, right? Like that's what people would call it. And so that was, to me, extremely intriguing. And I'm like, oh, it's my dream to like be able to do that one day. I want to be able to #money. I want to be able to do that one day while I was still, in my freaking dorm. And so fast forward a few months, like, to graduation, like literally the week that I graduated, launched one of my first courses, which was teaching people how to leverage messenger bots. Because I was super deep into the agency space. And so I was doing that. And literally the first week I had made 12K. And that was like the most at the time that I had made, like, ever, like in a week. And that was me as a,
Let's stop you there and say that's the most a lot of people make in a week now. Like not back then kind of thing, still now. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely a huge deal, but like where I'm at in my career now, we look back, even like we go back a couple years now when we first had that interview. I remember when you were first starting off your group, and so it's super cool just being able to see that growth and that progress and that transformation. So like that for me, I had launched on a Monday and I was graduating on a Friday, and during that week I was with my family and like just sharing that story with my parents as money's coming in. It was very emotional for me because it's something that I hadn't done before. So it was super cool. And then that's when I decided, all right, I graduated with my engineering degree, which I haven't done absolutely anything with. And it was extremely challenging going to school for that, and investing not only money, but a lot of my time. And I didn't end up doing anything. I decided, like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and pursue this digital marketing thing. It's making a lot of money. I have seen people travel the world with it. It looks super awesome. And so literally a couple months after that, from directly from college, I started rooming with entrepreneurs that I had met on Facebook, through Facebook groups, people that I had invested in, people that were my mentors, other group members. And as I was doing this, and I started traveling and I started living the lifestyle that I had dreamed of, I realized that a lot of people were just grinding their asses off. You know, they would like sell you this thing, and then they would be on the computer 24/7, and like, and I'm like, well, that's not what you're like really advertising. Like, what? It wasn't making sense to me, right? And then to me, I'm like, I want that passive income. Like, okay, got to a point where cool, I'm making good money, but I'm also an engineer that's not doing anything. Yeah, exactly. You don't, right? Well, like, check it out. Since I'm home right now in Miami, there goes the degrees, and I just got them as nice little. They're just hanging on the wall, you know, because my parents are proud. Um, but back then, like, I wanted that passive income, and the people that I was clearly around were making money, but it wasn't actually passive, because passive is not having to have any time input into the income that you're generating. And a lot of it, what's out there, it's semi-passive. You know, like, you can have a lot of things that are leveraged, you can create systems, automations, all that good stuff, but there is some time that goes into it, which many people don't factor into. So I wanted to seek that. You know, I knew that, okay, making money on the internet it's not a myth, it's real. So I'm like, okay, boom, check mark there. But now passive income, I want to learn how to do that. Like, that's what I was seeking. And so again, just the same way we do with anything, you know, I try to seek out mentors, I try to seek people that actually knew what they were talking about. And finally, I came across one of my mentors who has a liquidity of $100 million, like, and in his freaking 20s. Now he's just recently turned 30. But for him, like, I started learning how to invest my money, and I started learning how to manage my money versus making it. Because making it, you can make a whole lot of it, but then the transition that happens between making it and managing it, and where to allocate it so it can continue to grow for you while you're not actually putting more of your time, that's when it begins to have this like snowball effects, and it continues to grow and it continues to compound, and we benefit from the interest that money is actually gaining. And so that's when I was like, I became obsessed with, you know, not just making it, but also managing it and continue to build wealth. And that will actually be here even after I'm gone, you know, like, generations after me will still be able to benefit from that. And regardless of what I'm doing, regardless of what's going on with the economy, is still continuing to rise and is still building up. So that's you know, through the journey of hopping between different time zones, and you know, like, seeing different cultures, eating different foods. Some places didn't have the best Wi-Fi. You know, we were able to like really learn that. And one of the business models that really took off for me last year was e-commerce. And e-commerce was such a field that I was very interested in, like, really early on, as soon as I got into digital marketing. But it just had like a negative connotation to it. I would always just see like so many people kind of you know, post numbers, or like, it just seemed very scammy to me. So I always like kind of like stayed away from it. And then finally, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna give it a try. It was also during a time period where my dad, he was actually going through surgery, and he was in and out of the hospital, and it was very tough for me to continue selling info products when I wasn't in the emotional state to go out there and sell, and you know, continue to show my face. So I was like, I gotta still continue to make money, and I wanna use my skill sets that I already have. So I was like, all right, let me give e-commerce a chance. Uh, went ahead, built a store, hired a mentor, and that's how my journey started. Within, like, 24 hours of putting up my first product, got my first sale while I was in the bathroom taking a piss. It was so cool. It was like, and my phone goes off, and I was like, oh shit, I just made my first sale. That was super cool, like without me having to do anything. And that was my journey of like starting to sell like physical products online. But how it all started and how I had the money to not just only do that, but pay for my mentors, pay for ads and all that stuff. None of it was using any of my own money, because as I mentioned it to you guys earlier, I started to learn how to get the money that I was earning and put it in places where it continues to grow without me growing. So how does my money continue to do that without me having to like take away from it to fund my businesses, to fund other investments? Well, I learned how to leverage credit. And credit here applies to, everybody in America. Everybody in the United States has a credit score. And so the very first thing is learning how to optimize your credit score, so you put yourself in a position that other banks look at you and your business as somebody that's trustworthy, that they can lend money to. And typically, this money, they give it to you for like anywhere between 12 to 18 months at 0%. And whenever that happens, you have this time frame where you can be given, anywhere between 50 to 100K if it's your very first time doing it. And once you acquire this money, now it's like, all right, you're the entrepreneur. If you already have things going, awesome, you can now scale your business. If you see other investment opportunities, let's say like, all right, you're gonna put an investment opportunity promises you like 10-20% return in an entire year, and here you had the money that they gave you 50,000 that was at 0%, right? All of a sudden you take that 50, you put it here. After a year, you profited anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 because of the 10 to 20% return. So now you can pay that back, and now you profited that 5 to 10K, and you gave back what was lent to you. So that's what a lot of wealthy people, that's what a lot of the billionaires do. They leverage other people's money so that they can continue creating more wealth, creating more passive income streams. And it's all about doing that, right? Just anything that gives you more interest than what you're being lent, that's difference, that's what you end up profiting. So obviously, the more money that you can get access to, your boy Alvarado dropping gold. So any money that you can get access to, instead of having to work your ass off for $100,000, now if you're a business owner, you can literally get that $100,000 that's 100% yours because it's not taxed, right? That's a huge one. And now you can go and put in whatever it is that you want to, and also the interest that's gained on whatever it is that you put it under. That interest is also counted as a business expense. So it's extremely beneficial once you begin to learn how to do that and putting yourself in a position to be able to leverage other people's money. And that's how I was able to fund the e-commerce, because a lot of people come up to me and they're like, hey, Luis, I have a couple $100. I want to go ahead and start off. And I'm like, well, unfortunately, you can't just do it. You can't just run ads with $100. Like, you got to test the product, and then all of a sudden, if it's a winner, then you may not be able to scale it because you're capped with the amount of budget that you have. So it's like you can only go so much when you're limited to a certain amount of money. And then also you cannot invest in your proper knowledge, because a lot of people want to do things on their own, right? And we know as experienced entrepreneurs that the fastest way to be able to find success in anything that we try is by investing in other people directly. Like anytime I try something new, boom, go to the source, find somebody that has the results, go and pay them money so that they can guide me, because I could waste hours of my life going on Google, YouTube, everything, and I may be able to figure out 5 years, but why would I want to figure it out when I'm, later on in life, when I can enjoy and shortcut my time and do everything correctly, and then it's all on me. You have to trust yourself that you have to take action. And when you trust yourself enough, then you can start making these decisions. You can borrow money without any fear, and then you can execute. Just like Kim, like whenever, we were down here in Miami, we were talking, and you're like, oh yeah, I paid this money X amount of dollars, and then I was able to get a return on that, and then boom, it's like boom. And even the people that you coach, it's like that. People give you money, and then boom, you're able to triple that. You're able to give them a return on what they're investing with you. And so it's about that trust. Once you have that, it's a no-brainer to go and put yourself in a position that, like, all right, cool, get money from the banks. Getting money from the banks. You don't have to use your own money, because your own money is going to keep working for you. And then the money that you continue to make, boom, you stash it. And that's how you begin to create your wealth machine. So any dollar that you generate as income, what's going into your checkings account, what's going into your savings, what's going into your investments, what are you going to continue to put aside so that you can continue to develop as an individual, your skill sets, and all that good stuff. So let me take a little breathe and take some water.
You're just on a roll, so I just let you speak. Guys, hey Chris, hey Luis, hey, if you guys are here live, I see you guys are smashing that heart button, so the rest of the group knows that this is going on. Luis is talking about, so the golden nuggets, the aha moment I want you to get from what he said so far is, we leverage people all the time in coaching. Like, for example, Tyler got into our program, which helps you grow Facebook groups, and he invested. Our program at the time was $7,500, and then he made $66,000 in his first month with us. So that leap was X times, not just 3 times, but a lot. And then with now, what you have to start thinking about is, hey, not just people, but like the bank, institutions, start leveraging that power. And like, most people would be afraid to leverage institutions. Maybe it's easy, not easy. I would say it would be a mental road to go and invest in a coach. I think it's still like a lot of blockages before you invest in a person that's a coach. And so after you go there, just think about, like, you should go and start leveraging banks and credit companies and start doing that as if it is investing in a person, investing in. So that's the golden nugget I want you guys to take away from that, because I feel like a lot of people do get afraid. They see the bank and they see leveraging institutions as, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in so much debt. I'm going to be in debt, and then I'm going to be in over my head. And they touch that credit card, and there's so much trauma around, you gotta cut out your credit card because you're just going to go into this mountain of debt. So, Luis, I'm going to ask you questions that I think people would ask you if they don't really know your world. If I start making income, typically what's normal is I go and I look for an accountant. I look for a financial advisor. Where would I first take those steps in order to start leveraging credit in a way that feels like I'm not going to listen to the wrong people? Like, who are or what are the right people or the right places to go to?
Yeah, so to start off, I'm one of the right people, but you want to be able to really, like, learn, because there's just so much information out there, and the things that I'm sharing here, if a bank were to hear, like, they'll ban me, like, because this goes against what their business model is. They want to lock you in there, and they want you to not use the money that they lend you for things that will make you more income, because the way that they make money is by the interest that they're charging you on those cards. So for example, a lot of those cards, you can have anywhere between 15 to even like sometimes 30% interest rates on those cards. And on top of what you're already paying monthly, then there's that extra bump that there is to that, and that begins to add up. And so whenever we can leverage 0%, which is what we're going after, like, all the time, we're not we're literally taking 100% of that money and getting it for a specific time frame. But then we can actually roll that and transfer those balances into other cards. So one journey of like having X amount of dollars that are given to us, we can actually make that last for anywhere between 3 to 5 years. Money that has been lent to us. So one of the very first things is, I mean, like there is different blogs on the internet that will provide you with this type of information. There's also YouTube videos that will teach you how to do that. But for example, accountants don't know about this type of stuff. A lot of financial advisors don't know about this stuff because people will tell you like, no, don't get credit. They don't like, the wealthy are the people that actually do it. And I know this because, by being around these people, that's what they're doing. That's how they're moving their money around. That's why, for example, Donald Trump, we hear about him and like all the bankruptcies that he had. And even though he had a completely like shit history when it comes to his businesses, right?
Yeah.
His wealth did not go anywhere because he knew how to leverage that, and he knew how to put himself in a position where banks and other investors are looking at his business and, okay, cool, you trust whether you're lendable. And whenever something happens to that, since it's also not anything personal, because all the credit that we get, I forgot to completely mention this at the beginning, it's under the business side and it's not under the personal. So because we do that, we remove the risk from us and we're putting it into the business. So if for whatever reason an investment may have gone wrong, you end up borrowing $10,000 and you put it into this business and you didn't get the return that you wanted, well, all of a sudden that's not reflected in your personal report. So you are not yourself damaging that relationship that you have with those banks. And yeah, so it's a matter of actually like learning from that. And at the end of the day, it's just math, and it's a numbers game because everybody can have access to it. Just a matter of having proper habits around your money and knowing that whenever you are getting access to this, don't just go and buy nice shoes or go on vacation, like actually invest it in places that are going to produce more money for you. So typically, anybody that's doing already well in their business and they just want to take things to the next level, they already have a proven offer. They have a funnel that is getting complete strangers to customers. When they have all those elements in place, the only thing that's preventing people from making more money, if, for example, is putting more money behind ads, having more exposure as to what they do. And for that, they just need more cash. So when that's the case, you just go, you borrow, and you pump it into everything that you're already doing. So we have to start out the personal level and then go for business. That is correct, Louise Wild. I think that's the name. Yep. Cool. Yeah. So exactly. So the whole roadmap is you want to be able to first optimize your own credit score, right? Because if your credit score is anywhere below in the 600s, you're not gonna, anybody that you go and apply for credit, they're gonna look at you and they're gonna deny you. Okay, they're gonna say like, no, you don't have a good.
I'm gonna start asking you more questions. I'm gonna interrupt you. I want to make sure that those who are watching, their minds are shifting, and the way to shift, I feel, is myths versus truth. What's a myth versus what's the truth out there? And one of the myths that I see is probably, is credit, can you optimize credit like you optimize SEO or optimize like a thumbnail on a YouTube video to get clicked? Like, how hard is it to optimize credit? I don't know that much because I have really good credit almost all the time. I've never had bad credit. So I don't go look into optimizing, but I want to ask you, is it possible? What have you seen that's possible out there? And what is the truth?
That's a great question because there's several factors that make up what your credit score is. Number one, what people tell you most of the time is the payment history, right? They're gonna be like, oh yeah, you just gotta pay your thing on time, right? And that is a pretty obvious one, because if you miss a payment, then your credit score drops, right? But there's also the amount of utilization that you may have. You don't have to be at 0%. There's also this idea that you need to pay off all your credit cards, right? People say this whole thing about you having to pay off everything, but actually your credit score, the sweet spot where your credit score is at its max, is anywhere between 5 to 10%. So if you have utilization between 5 and 10%, overall, you are in a good spot. So, and also, guys, we're human beings. Like, we will be in debt. Like, it's just a matter of being in good debt versus bad debt, because a lot of people have this idea that, okay, I gotta pay it off, or, again, like, if I get the credit card, I'm gonna be in debt. But as human beings, this is what happens. It's a whole journey of like, oh, I'm getting debt, and then I pay it all off, and then boom, let's celebrate that I paid everything off, and then boom, you're in debt again, and then it's this whole thing over and over again. So I just acknowledge the fact that that might be short-lived. So it's better to focus on minimizing that and how much you're using from the credit cards that you have available, and being able to put it into places that you don't have to feel guilty of the utilization, because that there's other streams of income that are generating enough cash flow for you to pay that off, right? So there's also another big one is the amount of cards that you have at your disposal. Actually, it's really good to have more than 20 accounts open for under your credit. And so a lot of people think that, and this is true, whenever you do apply, right, you get inquiries, meaning these bureaus, they go and they want to go ahead and pull to see exactly what your credit score is. But not everybody pulls from the same bureaus. So some people will go ahead and they open up. Yeah, I like that.
For the replay.
Yeah. So for example, if you apply for an American Express card, right, they may pull from like Experian, which is one of the bureaus, but they may not pull from TransUnion or Equifax, right? You apply from another card, also depending on what state you're at, they may pull from this place and this place, or another bank may only pull from one place. Another bank may pull from all three. So whenever you are applying for this stuff, we also help people when it comes to acquiring money, because you have to do it in a very specific sequence, so you maximize the amount of strikes that you get in a certain amount of time in which you are acquiring money, because you have to do it in phases, right? You cannot be, it's not like you kind of got to do it like every so often. Like, you have to do it in phases, and you have to crunch and get as much money as you possibly can during that round. And so it's just very different rounds of funding that people go through in order to continue getting money, because again, of all the strikes, right? Because if, for example, if you end up getting 3 inquiries, which means they're pulling up your credit report and they're checking, all of a sudden you've applied for like 5 different banks. By the time you're on your 4th one that you want to get money from, they're gonna look at your thing and they're gonna be like, wait, you just requested from like 3 other banks this past week. That's an automatic no, because those red flags go in and like, oh, what is this individual trying to do? They're just pulling out a whole lot of money. So that's also another thing to keep in mind. So this is just like a lot of different factors when it comes to like really being able to do that. There's also the length of your credit history. A lot of people that are starting off, I've dealt with, like, for example, veterans who may not even have a source of income. They think that they may not be able to optimize their credit, which they definitely can. Somebody that may be 18 years of age, just getting their very first job, you can actually have somebody, and the people offer different types of services where you can put somebody as an authorized user. So once you do that, you put them on, you are under an authorized user. All of a sudden, instead of saying that you only have like a month of history, right? All of a sudden you can have 20, 30 years of history on your thing, and therefore, boom, your credit score jumps, right? Because that's also accounted into the credit score. So being able to put yourself in a position of doing that. There's also the different types of accounts that you have. For example, cars, houses, different credit cards, credit lines, all these different mixes of things where you're pulling money from. It's also good to have on your report. So yeah, so this is just a few of the things that can actually optimize your score. So then you're put in a position to then have that conversation with banks, and they look at your personal. So then you get business credit, right? Because they need, in order to give you business credit, they need to look at they need to have a reference from where they're gonna be, if they're gonna give you money or not. And so once you do that, now you have it all under your business. And then another cool thing is, once you may have that very first card, if you happen to had some debt that wasn't 0%, that you were gaining interest on your personal, right? You may have had like, you're maybe like paying like 10, 16% on that interest month to month. Now you can transfer that balance over to the business. And because now you have that debt under your business, which has 0%, now you transfer that money over. You're completely blank in one card, and therefore your personal credit score again rises, even though your utilization under your business could have been much higher. So these are all like just little tricks that people can go ahead and leverage, and it's what's gonna continue to allow you to continue to have a really great relationship with these banks.
What would at what point in a person's life should they start leveraging credit? Like let's say that for my audience, most of them are online affiliate marketers and software owners, and digital marketers. So at what point should you start down this path, do you think?
Yeah. So the honest answer is as soon as possible, as soon as you learn how to do this, because it's going to help you many different ways. Again, whether it affects your business directly, or whether you are trying to build generational wealth, meaning just taking this money and putting it into investments, right? Into different places where you can invest. Because yes, you can put it back into your business. You can put a lot of money back into your business, and you can put $1 in, you can get 10, 20, 50, whatever. But when it comes to your personal, there's very few places where you can actually make passive income from, right? And we have to make that differentiation where personal and business, and how you make money on both. Because when it comes to personal, I mean, you have the stock market, you have real estate, now you have crypto, which has Bitcoin has been off the hook. Bitcoin has been going crazy, going insane. And so, there's these places where you can continue building your wealth. So while you may be focusing on your business and you love that, there's still ways that you are making passive income and you're still contributing. But now the question is like, now you have to educate yourself on exactly what you will do whenever you have that money. Because a lot of people get this money and now they're just stuck with a lot of money and don't know where to put it. And so this is, again, investing in yourself would be the best possible thing that you can do. That's why it's like, it doesn't matter where you're at. I know a lot of people who have made just a living and don't have to actually go to a 9 to 5 because they got so good at leveraging the bank's money, going over there, making sure that their credit score is good. They pull it out, then they invest in other things that they start getting a couple $1,000s a month. And then over time, that just starts building, and they just do the process again, because it's literally the same sequence over and over again. No matter how many LLCs you end up having, you can have the same cards with a bunch of like different LLCs, right? And yeah, this live should actually be like auto deleted afterwards, so nobody in the banking industry can like check this out.
No. Well, there's so much like money itself. There's already so much trauma around that, so much already. And then like, so people are so afraid to go to that level. And then here you are talking like, oh yeah, you like pull this over here and over there. And there's so much fear around that. So and you're saying, hey, don't be afraid. Just go and have like multiple LLCs, have over 20 credit cards. For some people, that would be like a nightmare. Like like thousands of dollars in credit card debt, 20 credit cards, and like 10
Right.
FAs.
Yeah. At that point, you have to be organized. I track everything with spreadsheets because you need to be aware of like, all right, I have this certain amount of time period before my 0% on this card expires, right? Because
Yeah.
anything after that, you start getting interest on. So you just need to be aware, keep good track. Just the same way that in business, we have our KPIs. We do the same thing here. We just need to be aware of where we're moving stuff. Like a lot of wealthy people, they're millions of dollars in debt, but not really. They're just that's what comes out in the forefront. But a lot of people don't know what they're actually doing with all that money, which is actually generating cash flow for them.
Yeah. So, okay, start as soon as possible. Start now, build that multi-generational wealth. And what I'm hearing is treat it like you would treat like a section of your life. Like you're growing your business and then you take care of your personal stuff. So if you have a house, then you have to make sure that you have lawn care and all the house stuff. And and finance, with finance, this should be kind of, I feel like it's its own entity. There would be retirement and retirement fund and investments, but this feels like a different type. This feels like juggling investments versus, oh, put your money in your 401k and your Roth IRA and your mutual funds. It feels more, it feels very active. It feels like its own business by itself.
Yeah. So usually what I advise people to make it completely passive is to just focus on the index fund, the S&P 500, right, which is the 500 best companies in America. And always the 500 best companies will always be there. And so throughout history, right, like literally since its inception, on average, you get a 10% annual return. Okay. And that's what happens is any money that you make, you can literally automate your contribution to this, which is an index fund, and it's completely free. It's available again to all of us. You just contribute however much amount of dollars you want to put in there. Let's say 100, 200, 500, whatever the case may be. And it's literally, you just let it do its thing because again, it's proven to perform better than if you were to like allocate your money in all these different places where people make all these promises to you, right? And so in order to mitigate that risk, once you are in the S&P, you are diversifying the different companies that you are investing in. You're also diversifying the amount of time if you do it every single month. I have mine that contributes literally every single month at the start of every single month. And so that's completely, passive investments. Yes, we can get into like all the other things like that you mentioned. But in terms of completely passive, you don't have to think about. Boom, that's the thing. And the S&P again has performed over 100 years through World War, Civil War, all that good stuff. It's done super, super well. And even through the pandemic, it's freaking breaking records. Even now, after what happened yesterday, like it's still at its all-time high. Like it's so crazy because companies at the end of the day will keep serving people. They'll keep providing valuable products, valuable services, and America just continues to rise. And so by continuing to do this, your money will also continue to compound over time. But yeah, that was definitely a great point.
I want to ask you, Luis, what is your 0 to 50K? Is it a case? You said it's a
Oh
case
yeah. So let's talk about that.
on that. I put that as the title, and I'm like,
I know, right? All right,
so
guys. So this is what I decided to do last year because again, I find it so fun to be able to like share and document what I'm doing and be very transparent. So I decided to start up an e-commerce business and literally show from my very first sale all the way to making $50,000 a month. It made much more than that, but I chose to document it from 0 to 50. Okay, and when I started doing that, I showed people exactly how I was going about finding products. I showed people how I was building my store. I showed people how I was creating my ads. I showed people then how much money I was making from the ads itself that were generating these sales. Then I showed how much it was costing me to get the products, and really being transparent about how much profit I was making, and the things that I've experienced while growing, which were I was fulfilling. I was at first using AliExpress, which is kind of like the Amazon but in China. So basically, I will go ahead and I will post a product right on the Facebook newsfeed, and I would sell it for like $30. And then from China, I was buying it for $10. So now all of a sudden, I have this $20 gap, right? So I could not spend more than $20 with my ads. If not, I will not be making anything. Anything over that $20 threshold, I'd be actually losing money. So that was just in the front end. So I was doing that, and that was starting to run like on autopilot for me. And even the fulfillment of it, there was like early in the year, they have the Chinese New Year. So like nobody works over there, right? So then all of a sudden we experience this thing with like shipments not being delivered. And at the end of the day, like I'm as an individual, I don't have any inventory when I do this. All I am getting good at is just my marketing. Like I just literally saw a product and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make an ad for it, post it up there, and then as soon as somebody buys, we take the customer's information and I just give it to the supplier. The supplier then ships it to somebody that's either in the United States, in the UK, in Australia, or in Canada. Those are the top 4 countries that I would actually be like helping out with, and so and selling in. And so then the manufacturer would go ahead and do that, and all I'm seeing is just the cash flow. You know what I'm saying? And so I was never in a rush to be able to generate more inventory or anything like that. And then I had to delegate. So then I hired people to help me out with communication with the supplier. So all I would do, because when my ad is performing really well, is literally check it every now and then. I wasn't actually in my computer stuck, trying to see what it's looking like all day. And that's what I would consider semi-passive income. Because again, active is when I actually am trading my time to do coaching. This started off with doing research and putting stuff together, but then it got to a point where I was able to start delegating things. Facebook ads is very automated, and I was just freaking, got to the point where I was making 6K a day, and it was like, this is just happening, on autopilot, regardless of what I'm doing. If I'm waking up early, if I'm waking up late, if I'm hungover, whatever the case may be, right? Still making money. And so that's when I was like, wow, e-commerce is super cool. And again, it was something that I had seen as an industry that was very like scammy. I was very hesitant to go in there, just like credit. And it's so funny because that's the 2 things that I do now. And I literally used to like just be like not wanting to get into these things because I'm like, oh, they just have such a negative connotation and the way that people do it. But then the deeper that I dove, and I would encourage everybody, that's on their journeys, to always seek the truth, because you're gonna see a lot of things that are advertised out there. People are gonna sell you the dream. You won't actually see and the reality is that everything comes with challenges, and I was able to, doing this whole entire like documenting of going from 0 to 50K, I was just literally being extremely transparent over on Instagram. I was sharing on my stories, and I was letting people know, like, this is how much I'm making today. This is how much I have in revenue. These are the problems that I'm facing. This is how I'm scaling. This is what I'm doing with my Facebook ads. I would literally show it all out there. And I didn't have anything to hide because that wasn't my only income stream. You know what I'm saying? And so that was just like a project that I was doing just to prove to people that there's a lot of people that say specifically with this, they're like, oh, drop shipping is dead and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nah, just a lot of people don't know how to do it correctly. A lot of people don't know how to execute properly, because I was paying people that knew what the hell they were doing, so they could teach me how I could also have results and success. And that's why within 24 hours I was able to get my first sale, and then from there it was just continuous like learning experience and reinvesting in myself to learn more about this industry. And nowadays, as we have seen, it just accelerated the growth of people shopping online. Everybody shops online, whether it be for knowledge, or whether it be for physical products. Everybody is going online and shopping for stuff. So that's why if you guys are here following Kim, like, this is it, guys. You're making money online is the way. Like, you need to, stay on this path. Yes, it will be challenging. You may lose money. You're gonna risk a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's very rewarding. And the more that you stick with it, you will get results. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and thank you, Luis, for all of that. That is like, I feel like how it comes easy to you. I think a lot of people would try it and then like they literally lose a bunch of money on, like, they would run an ad. And I hear these stories because I have conversations, and they're like, oh yeah, I lost $600 on this ecom course that I ran this ad, and then I literally sold nothing. And and that's my story. Like, it's like super type of failure story. What is it that you do? And I mean, they're buying courses and they're investing in people too. What is it that you do that's different? Like, how are you acting like differently? Or is it the way that you approach it, where it's not your only thing, you have like other income streams, and you're very like deliberate about it? I don't know. For me, I'm like, sometimes people just fail. And I also have an ecom business, and that's super passive, and it took me a long time to make it passive. But I sell used car parts, so I would buy cars whole and then have it parted out, and everything's like real physical stuff in the US. And so it's a different kind of thing. I don't run ads to it because it's car parts, used car parts. So I'm like, quantity one of each, and then there's like over 10,000 units, and so I don't see a way to run ads. But I understand how passive ecom can be, because I don't work over there at all, and it's earning me income every single day. Like, it's just, I just have the people take care of it now.
Right.
So I understand ecom is so freaking passive, and it takes so much work to be able to get it to that point. What did you do differently that you feel like that's just different about how you approach things?
Yeah, so to start this one, the very first thing that I did was, I made sure that I had my 0% credit card. That literally I had the funds, and I was like, all right, I'm going to use this, and I won't have a cap into how much money I can spend on the business or in my mentors. And that was the next thing. I needed to go to people that, since I've been fortunate to interview many individuals and also been in this space, I was like, all right, I have a feel for, I know people that are legit, people that have results. And unfortunately, a lot of people that are, again, people will sell you a dream on the internet. So anytime that you see an ad, a lot of people will be like, oh, I got scammed. I got scammed by this person. I got scammed by this other person. I bought this course and blah, blah, blah. But, for me, it was going to the right people and investing in them so that I could have that one-on-one. And then they could literally look over my shoulder as I am doing things and guide me every step of the way. Right. And that's why I believed in them. I had a full trust in them. And I'm just following the framework, not trying to add it in my own thing, even though I do have prior knowledge and when it comes to marketing. I was just trusting their process. And so I just fully commit, and I fully let my mentors tell me what to do, because there's many students out there who, like, you also have to be a really great student. Aside from, like, I love teaching and everything, but when I'm in student mode, I try to absorb as much as I can. I really try to follow along and understand that what they are showing me does actually work, and it's just a matter of time before I actually see the results that I'm seeking. And so I just get very analytical And I ask a lot of questions, and I try to take action as soon as possible on this. Like I remember my birthday is literally next week, and this time last year, I spent midnight. Like I was literally with one of my ads coach. We brought in my birthday fixing some ads. I was like literally on there, and I was just fully right into it, and that was all I was committing to, and all I wanted, and all I was focused on. And you have to stop and cut out all the distractions, cut out all the other noise that will be presented to you, because everything else is just shiny objects, and like that's what a lot of people struggle with. uh,
Luis, like, that's what I want to do with Kim. Thanks, Luis. In my program. Shame.
That's it. That's what you gotta do. You just gotta commit to it. Make sure that you do have the budget to do so. Have somebody that you trust and you're fully, invested in, and have the patience. Be implementing exactly what they tell you. And anytime that you have challenges, which you will have, because in this game we're messing with tech, and tech will go wrong, But it's a matter of having somebody that I can speak to and be like, hey, my ads got disabled, which is something that happens in this thing over and over again. Oh, my ad account got shut down. Like, it is normal. It is part of the game. So don't get emotional. A lot of people get too caught up with their emotions, and then they're like, oh shit, like I failed, and like they just go down this whole path, this emotional roller coaster. And when you're going through this thing, and you get in a state where you see more negatives than positives, all of a sudden you're not thinking right, and you cannot make the proper decisions to continue taking action. So a lot of it is also, being in that mental state, and knowing that at the end of the day, like I know whatever I try, I'm gonna succeed at. It's just a matter of time. Like I know that for a fact, right? And so I just have that belief in myself, and the belief in the people that are guiding me, because I strongly believe it. Like I keep saying over and over again, invest in a mentor, invest in somebody that has done that and is doing that, so that they can help you get to where you want to get to. And then it's just a matter of time, just being patient.
So what I hear is you didn't put a cap on your investment amount for mentorship. What does that look like if there's no cap? Is it like,
It was
30K?
actually pretty cheap, because I've actually invested, like, I've been, for that specific thing, I would say total in mentorship, I had invested like 4.5K, I would say. Yeah. And so in that, I was my first month with e-commerce, I had done a little under 5,000. Um, and that was, with no prior data, because I had no pixel data, I had no customers, I hadn't done a store before, nothing, right? Everything was starting literally from scratch. Um, and that was thanks to my mentors. And then after that, it was just, obviously we had our ups and downs, but then prior to the pandemic hit, and then you see the sales, like it was crazy, because everybody was just at home getting their stimulus checks. They didn't know what to do. Boom, buying online, and like another stimulus round coming, and people are gonna be buying again. So
The stores will be empty of TVs. I remember the first stimulus check, like a bunch of people bought TVs. I think I went to Costco, and like a bunch of TVs were like gone. And I'm like, oh, that's what people spend their stimulus check on, TV.
right, yeah, exactly. It was lockdown.
Oh, yeah. So that goes to show you that they buy products. And if you have products and you can provide physical products, then people are spending their money on that right now. It's well, with my business, I do software, and software to me is kind of like e-commerce, but you have unlimited inventory, and you have really no overhead costs, and no shipping and whatever costs. So to me, it's like the holy grail of this type of e-com, where I'm selling screen name and passwords. And I I saw a big increase because people are like at home and then they want to use like different tools online. So the pandemic has really uh, made people, I think, believe the scammy stuff could be real.
Yeah, and that was another reason why I wanted to like be transparent, and like show people the behind the scenes of like, look, this is how much this is making, this is how much, and like this is totally possible, this is doable. I'm not unique. Like what I have done, anybody can do. It's just a matter of, again, investing in the right people, and being able to fully commit to implementation.
But yeah, but not everyone would invest like $4,000 in
Right.
cooking. They would think that that's crazy to some people. And then here we are, we know friends and ourselves, we've invested
Yeah,
thousands.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah, like the past year alone, I invested 46,000 in just coaches, not to mention all the programs and modules I invested in. And I felt like if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I am.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That is what it takes, guys. Like everybody that's listening, it depends, where do you want to get to, right? What level do you want to be able to achieve? If you have seven-figure goals, well, investing $1,000 into yourself, it may not. You have to think about it like as a 10x return. From that 1,000, okay, cool, it'll make you 10,000 if you actually do the work. But if you are starting off, you have to not think about a short term, think about it long term, because what Kim just mentioned, that 46,000 isn't just going to give her a return over this year. Yeah, over this year, probably going to be 10x, but this is skill set that she's learning right now that is going to serve her for a freaking lifetime, and then also for the value that she's going to be able to provide her students, her clients, everybody else that she gets to touch. So at the end of the day, you have to think about it like that. You cannot think short term. You have to think long term, and you have to, be able to like boom, pull the trigger and make some moves. Because opportunities that you don't take up, they go to somebody else. Like for example, for me, I see I'm gonna buy a mentorship with Luis. Unfortunately, this is the last month that I'm gonna be offering that because I want to focus on my businesses. Like after this month, I'm literally gonna not be offering any more mentorship for the year because I just want to focus on my own projects, and I have the ability to do so. I'm very grateful to do that and be able to have that, and like I really want to be able to focus on my thing, and that's why like when it comes to ecom, I've taken a few people for this month, but yeah, like I've decided like, hey, I'm just after this month, I wanna just be able to focus on a specific group of people, and then after that, boom, focus on scaling my businesses.
Yeah, and you mentioned something. You say you invest in one-on-one. Do you invest in both group coaching, or you steer more towards like one-on-one? That would be the
Yeah,
best.
I steer more towards one-on-one, and group coaching. At times, I typically, and let me see, when was the last time I did group coaching? It's been a minute. It's been a while. I like being, um, I just like having access to somebody that I can speak to, where that means paying them more money. Because like in a group setting, yeah, you will get your answers. You will get the answers that you're seeking. But at the end of the day, if I can literally write to you, we can connect. Like when we're like doing the whole TikTok thing, right? Like I was able to like boom, give you some things like right at the bat. Like in a group coaching setting, that would not have been possible. So we just are able to get like results much faster.
Yeah, and guys, I met Luis again in real life. The first time, oh, wait, no, several times. Second time in real life in Miami a couple weeks.
In real life.
And then we went on a boat ride together and we ate lunch together, and it's so cool. And he told me about this TikTok phenomenon, how he could make TikTok go viral. And I'm like, okay, I'll just start doing what he told me. and it doesn't sound like a crazy leap, but I went from, I think, like 3 followers to like 40. I don't know. Like it was a leap for me because before it was 3 and it stayed at 3 forever. And I didn't put in any content. I put in a few content and I saw hundreds of views. It went from like just several views per video to I think 600 views right away, just implementing what he told me. And I just started doing that on a very small level, and it just was immediate effects. And yeah, it just having someone tell you, hey, just do this, do this, do this. And but yeah, anyways, I wanted to bring him on again to help teach you guys a masterclass in TikTok. And this interview was maybe supposed to be for so that you guys know Luis, get to know him again. It's been 2 years, and he's really good at teaching, and he'll tell you exactly what you need to do for the next thing. And so the master class that we're going to be hosting, I don't know when, maybe in a couple weeks, whatever, but it's going to be around how to have attention and sales with creating viral TikTok posts and how to do it. And it doesn't take forever for you to do it. Only takes, I don't know, one class, and you'll learn how to do it the way Luis does it. So I know we spoke upon ecom, and then we talked about TikTok. Luis, you just do so many things, and I feel like you're so multifaceted. What is your 2021 goals? What does that look like for you? I feel like at this point in your life, you're just trying different businesses and blowing them up one at a time. And I want to know, like, what's your goal for the next year? And that I'm excited for you to teach the TikTok masterclass.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited for that because, guys, for you guys that are watching, like, doesn't matter what you're doing, there's a lot of opportunity on TikTok. Like, I thought that I needed to go up there and post dance videos, right? I'm a pretty good dancer. If you have not seen my content, I love to dance. But I literally uploaded like 2 dance videos on TikTok. They did okay. And then I was like, all right, let me talk a little about business. Let me actually do like tutorials and share. And then boom, that thing, like literally next day, I started getting DMs. I started posting another video, boom, and it just had like hundreds of thousands of views, going viral. And every other video was getting like tens and thousands of views. And so there's a whole lot of opportunity to really connect with people. And like, I didn't know like the attention, like people are like literally stuck on TikTok, and I see it. I see it with everybody around me, like people are on TikTok. And as entrepreneurs, we're very different. Like, we may not be displaying the same behavior that our consumers, people that are buying our stuff, may be displaying. So that's why, like, it hadn't popped into my head, since I hang out with a lot of entrepreneurs. I was like, all right, well, maybe, like, let me just give it a try. And I did it, and it freaking worked. And I didn't know anybody else around me that was doing it. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna just keep it low. Everybody can hang on Facebook. I'm gonna do my thing on TikTok. And so I just went over there, and it was, just a party of me, and like people were just freaking hitting me up. And like, I had never gone through such a phase where I was getting so much attention. Like, my phone was blowing up, notifications. I'm like, wow, I'm not even famous. And like, my phone wouldn't, like, literally from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, every second, boom, 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 boom. I was like, what this is crazy. It's crazy.
Can we see something? Can we see some numbers so that I can kind of tease them into the masterclass?
Yeah, guys. So as of right now, like here, oh, there it is. That's me. Like, as you guys can see, I have 23,000 views on there. You guys can see some of my dancing on there, but it's literally me talking, me explaining. It's also me sharing some of the ecom stuff that I talked about today. Like you guys can see the views, like 14. Oops. Uh, like let's see, like 82,000, 14, 12, 20, 30. 10 again, 356,000, 277,000. Like all these views is just going to continue generating more attention and attention for you. And like that's how, if you know how to convert people off of that, then you make more money. So there's a whole lot of opportunity on TikTok. It doesn't take your entire day to create content, and TikTok just does its thing. They're like really good like at SEO. They're like really good. I would say it's like a mix of like Instagram stories and YouTube videos. Uh, because even my really old videos, like they still get a lot of views, and like I literally published that last year, like midsummer, and so for them to still continue stacking views, it's like on YouTube. You go on YouTube and you can search stuff and like things will pop up. But it's in the form of Instagram stories where it can just be very raw. Like you can just point your phone at yourself, point it wherever you're showcasing, and boom, you're done. So that's why I liked it. It was a really cool combo of both of them. And then going back to my goals, like as you were saying, um, it's my dream to own over 10 businesses, be able to travel the world and have relationships with people of leadership, people that have a lot of influence, so that I can continue learning from their wisdom and speak at stages, so that I can continue bringing the information back to people. At the end of the day, my goal is to help others become financially independent. And that's what my businesses are about. My businesses are about making money, managing money. That's my purpose. That's what I'm here to continue sharing. So I really, really love doing that. And I love to travel. That's why I want to do it all over the world, and continue eating really great food, dancing in different places, making content. That's what's fun for me.
Awesome, Luis. I want to ask you, is there a place that they can go to check out your case study that you have, or your, I know you don't have anything, you told me you're like, well, I don't have anything on TikTok yet, but we're gonna maybe create something there that's an asset. So where can they go to find out how you did the 0 to 50K month kind of case study? And also, I know for TikTok, you told me a tip where you can put like a bot link or a link where people can click, and they'll click into your Instagram, and your Instagram can be a bot link, and that's really cool. That's a really good technique as well. So where can they go to find you, and where can they go get that case study? Where does it sit?
Yeah, guys. So you can, since I was literally documenting everything, right? Just I love stories. They're very raw. You can go ahead and follow me on Instagram, and then on Instagram, if you just go on my highlights, I literally have stuff on there. I have FAQs. I have week 1, week 2. I like labeled everything. It's very organized on that. So you can find me on Instagram at LuisXAlvarado. That's my at Luis X Alvarado right there. Oh, there it is.
All
There
right,
you go.
cool. Yes, follow Luis on Instagram, and we are most likely going to be doing a TikTok masterclass really soon. I'm really excited for that, especially when he told me that it doesn't take too long to learn how to do it. I love being able to learn something that's very condensed in a short period of time, and try it out. Um, I think I'm like I think of things as not scammy at all. If someone's telling me, "Hey, this works," I'll try it sometime later on that day just to check it out for a little bit. But really excited about the TikTok masterclass. And I know that if you are into Facebook group growth, or you're into selling some kind of product, or your info product, or your physical product, being able to get a lot of attention and traffic, especially when it's not it's organic with TikTok, then you could have so much in your favor. And so All right. Thank you, Luis. We went a little bit over time today, but I just didn't want to interrupt you. You had a flow, just kept on going. Thank you so much for showing up today, Luis, and you have a wonderful night in Florida.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.